Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we'll be speaking with the team from Unmarshal. This conversation was recorded on August 9th, 2023, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also, make sure to subscribe to our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. Today we have joining us the team from Unmarshal. They are a really cool blockchain company, and they are also Kadena grantees. So it's going to be very interesting to learn what they've been working on, the things that they're building. So let's just start possibly with a quick introduction about yourself and what Unmarshal is all about. So take away.
Hey everyone. This is Manohar, founder of Unmarshal. Hi, Kadena Ecosystem. I really don't know the person behind it, but hi, and great to be here. I think it's been a while since we chatted in the AMA in the Kadena Ecosystem, but excited to be here. And Unmarshal started in 2021, late 2021, as a blockchain data infrastructure for predominantly Ethereum-based. We started as a DeFi data platform, but we kept on expanding into multiple chains and multiple use cases as they came up. And now Unmarshal has one of the biggest portfolio of products as far as data access is concerned. So excited to talk to you all about.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you here. It's been, like I said, we've been doing this for just over a year now. And I believe Unmarshal was one of the first projects that we added to our website. So it's definitely been a long time in the making. And I'm sure a lot of people are very interested to hear what all you guys have to offer. Now, you did say that you started kind of building in the Ethereum and other network spaces. What was it about Kadena that made you decide, I want to start building tools for this blockchain as well?
Yeah. I would say it's about community. I think like Kadena is backed by some of the brilliant builders, and they are like so dedicated to Kadena and looking to just build right in at home. So we came across one of the project called Hypercent. So they are one of the Kadena native products. So I think like it started from them. So as we spoke and we got introduced to the Kadena team. And it was a process. I think like we because they didn't have anything in terms of how to onboard ecosystem, like infrastructure projects, etc. But we worked with them from the beginning, and then we liked what we saw in terms of the team and the ecosystem. So everyone was so passionate and they wanted to help each other. So within Kadena, I think we have multiple groups where different projects are helping each other with various things. So I think like with this, I would love to thank Hypercent again here, but that's how it started. And then we've been like fortunate enough to work with some of the amazing products within Kadena ecosystem. So Unmarshal has a old suite of products when it comes to the blockchain data is concerned. You have APIs, you have an explorer, a multi-chain explorer rather, and you have notifications and even a smart contract indexing. So all of that we built on Kadena, and then it was also challenging. It's completely different from Ethereum as far as the tech is concerned. So it was challenging for us to work on our non-EVM portfolio. So Kadena, I think like it was like home for all of those challenges. So it felt nice, like right to come and build on Kadena ecosystem.
Well, that's really cool to hear that, you were kind of inspired to build on Kadena through one of the other projects that are also building. And Percent is an amazing team. Andrea and all of them do amazing stuff over there. And they've also been very helpful and very open with anyone willing to wanting to build on Kadena. If you have any questions or anything, you can always go to them. They're always very open and willing to help everyone. I feel like they've been probably one of the most helpful teams in the community. While they're building their own stuff, they also have their hands in many other projects helping them along, because they do have a long history of working and building on Kadena. So it's really cool to hear that, you saw the potential behind Kadena through another project that's also been doing some amazing things on top of Kadena. So that's really cool to hear. And just a really, it's weird. It's weird sometimes where inspiration can come from and make, pushes you down a whole different path that you may not have originally seen yourself going down. So that's really cool to hear. Now, you did mention that you guys have a large catalog of tools and services that you guys offer at Unmarshal. Now, could you maybe go through what are like your top services that you do offer, and which ones do you feel are the most prevalent, that are the most used, that most people are like gravitating towards?
Yeah, so definitely. I think, see, the philosophy at Unmarshal was to make the building process smoother, and like we wanted to build that a foundation as far as infra is concerned, so that people can build what they wanted to build in the future, right? So and then we wanted to make sure that they don't have to go through the redundant work that have as far as indexing and other aspects are concerned. It's a like kind of repetitive work that we wanted to make sure not everyone has to go through. So in that way, we started with just APIs. Like if you see Unmarshal old website, it's just said Unmarshal is a blockchain data DeFi data infrastructure. So we started within DeFi as an API company, and then as we kind of understood the different needs, people wanted data in different avenues, not just in form of API. So if you look at wallets, right, like we have 4 different products just for wallets. It's APIs, it's notifications, and it's price streams and price stored data. So all of that, whatever our clients needed as far as data is concerned, we were ready to build and make that a product later. So most of these products came out of as a requirement, and we kind of built it for 1 or 2 clients and then made it a product. So far, Unmarshal has 4 families of products. One is API, what we call as DeFi and NFT API suite, that consists more than 50 plus well-crafted APIs for all the needs as far as wallets, explorers, and DeFi or NFT protocols are concerned. So various use cases for APIs. You can use Unmarshal API suite. This again is Unmarshal Smart Notifications, where in cases of wallets where people need to be kept aware, I think it enhances user experience to make sure that like they get to know the unchained transactions as soon as they happen, without having to open the app and like keep on refreshing. So that was the second product we launched, and we wanted to kind of showcase what Unmarshal is to everyone, and then that's where the idea of Explorer came. So initially it was just built as a demo tool, but now it has found its users, and now we are building white labeled Explorer for a lot of chains. So that's the second this thing, and the fourth one is called this is I think what came out as a revolutionary product, and this is something we are betting for future as well. It's called Parser. It's a no-code smart contract indexer. People have been using the graph and a few other products, but it's mostly tied with token, and like people can just use GraphQL. But whereas if you're building a smart contract, you should have access to your data in terms of what are the users who are connecting to your smart contract, and how many transactions are happening for your smart contract, etc. These data should be very handy, and not everyone need to write code for it. So that's where we got the idea of no-code smart contract indexer, where you give this is a chain, and this is the smart contract address. Give me all the data, and in a way I can understand. So that's where the parser was born. So as far as the usage is concerned, API is the biggest use case. But as far as the future is concerned, parser is growing much faster than our rest of our products.
Yeah, that's quite the catalog of services that you guys are offering, and definitely something that a lot of dApps and a lot of wallets and projects can definitely utilize. One thing I was kind of curious as, because here over at Eucalyptus, of course, we have our Koala wallet, and we built a lot of the services on the back end ourselves. What do you feel would be the advantages of using a service like Unmarshal for notifications, indexing, things like that, versus running your own nodes, building your own indexer, and doing all that stuff on the back end? So like if I wanted to build my own wallet and stuff like that, instead of building all this stuff from scratch myself, what do you think are the best benefits of using a service like yourselves?
Yeah, I think this is a very good question, and I'm sure you can vouch for me when I say this. Like it saves everything, right? Like one, the time. It generally takes like 3 to 4 months to build all this back end stuff. And then I think if you are a crypto native, if you understand how things work, if you don't understand, then it takes more than 6 months to get the context, to understand the internals of blockchain, etc. So one is time. It saves close to 90% of the time as far as the back end of wallet is concerned. The second one is cost. Running nodes not easy, not cheap, and running indexers on top of it is not easy and not cheap. And then it costs like tens of thousands of dollars, right? So, and then especially if you are multi-chain. For example, we work with this wallet called Obvious Wallet. They are a smart contract wallet on the all EVM compatible smart contract wallet. So they built entire wallet within 2-3 months, because they started working with Unmarshal from the beginning. We power their entire application for that as far as any data is concerned. So they use our APIs, they use our notification service, they use our price streams. So with that, they were able to build a very full-fledged multi-chain wallet within 2-3 months, and then at the fraction of cost that is required for building a wallet. So I think the time and cost wise, I think it saves more than 80 to 90% of time and cost. And needless to say, anything that, because Unmarshal has been in this space for more than 2 years, we've gone through various like problems of blockchain in terms of scaling. We survived the Binance NFT saga, Polygon NFT scale. So we kind of, even when BSC scan was down, Unmarshal was up and running in that scale. So, and there are a lot of things that happens and that requires context for a fresh team to understand, with all the other focus items they have, compared to a dedicated blockchain data infrastructure. So these three are biggest benefits, I would say.
Now, when it comes to your backend services and servers and stuff, are you guys running all of this infrastructure yourself, or are you running it on top of, say, something like Flux or AWS? Just so, like, if a party was to be building an application or something and using your services, is there any chance that there could be outages and things like that? Because that's one of the things that a lot of dApps and wallets and things like that have to consider when using third-party services for their indexers, for their nodes, for all that kind of stuff. So do you guys have any kind of like fail-safes in place so that there is the least amount of disruption possible?
Yes. So I think like since we've like Unmarshal has been in the play for more than 2 years, and most of our clients who use Unmarshal services have stayed with us even after 2 years. Right, like we have very little churn rate as far as the clients or users are concerned. That is mostly because of the flexibility we offer in terms of the reliability, right? So one, if the teams want, we are flexible in terms of where we host these services. But if you use hosted services where you are sharing the load with others, it's going to be much cheaper. But we also have offerings where if you want to host on your own, then Unmarshal service can like help you with that. And as far as our infra is concerned, we have multiple layers of fail safety, and we have validators to make sure that whatever the data that we serve, it's where it's a truth to its source. And we work with nodes pretty much to make sure that the data you receive is real time and near real time, so that there is no data loss. Right, like as far as Unmarshal motto is concerned, data purity is one of the highest principle that we want to make sure we keep on. So there's been a process, and we've worked with some of the biggest wallets in terms of making sure that they are happy with the services that we are providing. So yeah, so we are flexible in terms of like how they want to host it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's always good to hear that, you're taking steps to make sure that your data that you are offering as your service is always going to be readily available to everyone, because there's nothing worse than, like opening up a wallet and just not having your transaction history loading, or not having your balances loading. Because, if you're a wallet provider or a service that's depending upon a third party to provide your data, you want to ensure that, that flow of data is never obstructed, and there's always a nice, easy, simple flow and up-to-date flow of data coming into your service. So that's really great to hear that you've put in those steps, put in those implementations to ensure that those kind of things don't happen. Now, when I was doing my research on Unmarshal, one of the things that kind of caught my eye was something called Sakhi or Sakhi. I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced, but it was kind of something to do with artificial intelligence, with AI becoming such a large thing in the whole, not just the crypto space, but just the technological space as a whole. AI is kind of stepping in to be that next big plateau of technology of the future. Could you maybe go into a little bit more detail about what Sakhi is, and how you feel AI can be utilized in the blockchain space?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's called Sakhi. By the way, it's a Indian term for something like a friend assistant, right? So that's where the name derives from. But I think, like, to get to the core of it, right? Like, the reason we wanted to build that was as soon as the OpenAI came up with the sophisticated infrastructure that we can leverage on and build on top of it to make different use cases, right? So it's like OpenAI is this platform that not ChatGPT is one of them, but like the OpenAI as a platform has a lot of things to offer for different use cases. And we, being in data perspective, we wanted to make sure we make the data access usable for everyone, irrespective of their tech provisions, right? Like before this, either you have to use a graphical interface like Explorer, or you have to write complex SQL query to get to the data that you wanted. But with the open ChatGPT, it opened up the possibilities of natural language query, right? Like you can just like talk in your native language, and then there's some program that can get you the results you want. So we wanted to bring that aspect into the data query. So Sakhi is it's a AI chatbot for blockchain data access. So you can use your natural language to query data. Like for example, you can just say, hey, how many dexes are there in Kadena, or within for a particular dex, what is the liquidity, what is the trade volume, what is the number of wallets using this particular exchange. So all this kind of data on top queries on top of smart contracts can be asked in natural language, and Sakhi would convert that into complex SQL queries, and then give you the results in a format that makes more sense. It's currently in the beta access, closed beta. We've opened like the wait list for it, and will be letting people test. And then once, based on the feedback, we'll be releasing it to the public soon.
Well, that's very neat to hear, and something that I'm sure a lot of services would probably take advantage of. It'd be very handy to like go to, say, one of your favorite dexes and have like a little chat bot kind of item where you can go in and ask it, before you even do a swap or do anything, without having to, click a whole bunch of links and look at a whole bunch of charts. You could just ask the bot a question about liquidity or whatever, instead of, like just simplifying it and making it more streamlined and easier for people to find the information they're looking for. And yeah, like you said, utilizing AI technology, that's, like I said, that's just kind of going to be the next step of building these dApps and building your infrastructure. Is, why not utilize all the different possible technologies that are out there? And, it's slowly showing that AI is slowly showing its use case in so many different ways for people to be able to incorporate it into their projects, into their dApps, and all that kind of stuff. So very cool to hear that you guys are, kind of taking a lead on that and trying to build a really cool tool that people will definitely be able to utilize on multiple different types of platforms. Now, speaking of multiple different types of platforms, people probably out there, there's probably people listening out there that are building dApps of their own, or have built dApps, built projects, stuff like that. What kind of dApps do you feel are most likely to be using your kind of services? And maybe, like some people obviously off the top would think, wallets being kind of number one, but what other kind of services do you feel could really benefit from using services that Unmarshal provides?
Yeah. So, but I think the simplest answer for this would be, if you are interested in any kind of blockchain data, but the more I'll give the more detailed one. One, obviously, wallets, and the second one is DeFi protocols. If you are into lending, if you are into exchange, if you are into let's say perpetual or options trading, or pretty much anything. If you have a smart contract, Unmarshal will be able to help you access the data. For example, right, like, and in bull market, I think like everyone wants to just like play around and access. So nobody cares about the actual user adoption. But like for any product to survive, you need to make sure that you understand your users, you understand what they are doing, and you understand your protocol better, and you make sure you monitor it well, right? So in that case, like, you need to make sure that you have at least basic analytics on top of your protocol to make sure. I mean, like under the wood, everything is a business and everything has to grow, right? So if you are using a wallet, if you're building a wallet, you want to make sure that you are keep adding new users to your wallet, and there are more and more people using your wallet. And same goes to a DEX, same goes to anything else, right? So in such cases, Parser plays a very good hand in terms of making you understand your smart contract better. So this Parser is a one place platform where you can analyze your smart contract to look at how many users you have and whether they are growing, whether they are retaining, etc. And at the same rate, you can pull in the data into a business intelligence with platform like Tableau, Metabase, etc., and do deep analytics in terms of, hey, if I'm a exchange, how many people are trading at least once a week? How many people are coming back to my DEX after trading a week? And how many of them are continuously trading, etc.? So such use cases, if you have, and if you want to analyze and then make sense of the data in a easy manner without much coding skills or without spending much on indexing, Unmarshal is a go-to place for you to start building. And then as far as the APIs and others are concerned, I think like there are use cases that can be used by NFT marketplaces and NFT, just the wallets that displays NFTs, etc. So, if you are interested in any of the blockchain data, Unmarshal can definitely help you.
Now, one of the spaces that are becoming more prevalent in blockchain and in Kadena itself, mostly because of the technology behind Kadena, like gas stations, marmalade, packed, things like that, is the GameFi space. And a lot of people, are starting to see the benefits of utilizing Kadena to build, gaming platforms and games and things upon. How do you feel that Unmarshal could bring kind of, a benefit to these GameFi projects, and how they could how GameFi projects themselves could benefit by using your services? Like, what kind of things do you feel are specific to the GameFi space that you guys could offer?
Yeah, I think that's a very great, good question. So one of the important aspects that we liked in Kadena is its scalability, right? So because there are parallel running chains, and then you can deploy on any one of them and then port it. It's just kind of more than a chain; it's a network of chains. In that sense, it makes a lot of sense for GameFi projects to come and build for the pure scale it provides, right? Like if you are seeing a lot of like para chains or side chains. I think like Kadena thought through it earlier, and they've built a system where there can be any number of chains as within the network of Kadena. So in that specter, I think it's amazing how they thought through earlier, and then it's one of the biggest advantages for GameFi projects to come and build for it. And as far as the Unmarshal services for GameFi projects is concerned, it's the package we have for GameFi, where you can look at the game assets in one place, and if you need to port around, etc. So you don't have to build them and index them on your own. So the package can help you in terms of looking at the game assets and then the history of them, etc. And then obviously the analytics is one of the biggest use cases that GameFi can make sense use of.
Yeah, there's lots of different ways that all different kinds of services and blockchain data can be used, and GameFi is definitely going to be one. They're going to need to pull information from the chain to keep their, if for any kind of movements or things that are done within the game, you're going to need some kind of quick uptime, relevant and readily available information. And you guys definitely provide the services that those kind of dApps and those kind of projects would need to help, keep their game up to date, keep things running smoothly, and keep things going. Now, one of the things that also you guys offer is a token. You have your own token, the MARSH token. Could you maybe explain a little bit about what the MARSH token is and how it's utilized within your platform?
Yeah. So Unmarshal is a network, right? So the way we envisioned it is a network of different people coming together and building this data was. I think that's what you've also seen on our website. If you go and look at it, it's like kind of different people indexing different chains, different part of the data, and helping each other in terms of validating it and making sure it's a good, decentralized and trustworthy, verifiable data source. So that's where Unmarshal was started, and then Marsh token plays an important role in that, right? So right now, we've made sure that like the users of the data pays through the tokens, and any service providers are compensated in the token, and all the ambassador programs or the advocate programs, all of that uses Unmarshal token. And then the Unmarshal is also secured through the staking protocol, where it's an inbuilt staking platform where people can stake and access to the revenue that's generated by Unmarshal user services. So MARSH is a token for Unmarshal network. and there are like few use cases already, and we are keep on building different utilities for that token. So for Sakhi and for some parts, all of this Marsh plays a bigger role.
Now, this Marsh token, what platform does it live upon? Is it an EVM token? Where, like, if people are going to be able to utilize this token, are they going to need to install an EVM wallet? Which kind of, platform or code base is the token based upon? And if it's not based upon the Kadena, is there any thoughts of possibly doing a release on Kadena for a token?
Yeah, I think it's EVM compatible for now, but we have plans to make it available in on multiple chains. But we were like a little bit hesitant because of the hacks through the bridges, etc. And we wanted to kind of restrict it to fewer places. But I think given the advancement in the bridge sector, I think we will open up more and more, and you might see in Kadena very soon.
Yeah, that is one thing that they talked about, I believe, in one of the previous Kadena campfires, is that they are working on bridges and L2s for Kadena, where, like, for example, the L2 can settle to other blockchains outside of Kadena itself, including Ethereum and some others. So hopefully once those kind of protocols get more developed and more put in place, it'll make things easier for projects like yourselves to be able to bridge your existing tokens or whatever over to other networks, other platforms, including Kadena. So, it's just kind of a waiting game right now to see, what kind of products and protocols they are able to finally release and build out. But, that stuff, it is something that people have been wanting for a very long time. And like you said, there has been multiple issues with multiple bridges in the past. So, waiting until something becomes more secure, more finite is definitely the smart play to go, as opposed to just rushing something out that may have some underlying vulnerabilities that people will be able to exploit, like we've seen in the past. So that's very good to hear that, you have those utilities already set up in place and things for people to go now. For people to be able to get their hands on the Marsh token, is it available through any kind of dexes or sexes, or is it available, or are people able to earn the token? How can people get their hands on the token itself?
So Unmarshal Marsh token is available on most of the popular centralized exchanges like Ucoin, MXC, Ascendex, and Gate. As far as this decentralized exchanges are concerned, Unmarshal is available on Uniswap and PancakeSwap.
Now, is there any way outside of just straight up buying the coins through a DEX or something that people could earn these tokens, or is it strictly a buy kind of situation?
No, I think once you come into the Unmarshal community, you can participate in Unmarshal Advocate, a program that we are about to launch, and there's an ambassador program that's existing for a while, where you contribute to the Unmarshal growth, and with that you can earn Marsh tokens. And once you have Marsh token, then you can there are continuous staking programs for you to the kind of multiply those earn rewards on top of the existing Marsh tokens you have.
Now, have you guys ever considered maybe decentralizing your platform kind of in the way that Flux does, where people could possibly run their own nodes and infrastructure to help further the ecosystem and help bring even more, that way if something was to happen that your nodes or your services go down, you have other nodes to rely upon. Has that ever been a consideration of Unmarshal to kind of decentralize the system and spread it out to the community?
Yes. So that's always been a plan. So in fact, we opened up a program called the NFT Decentralized program, where we kind of offer our founder nodes to a dedicated number of people, and then we make sure that the network has to sustain on its own. So we have made sure that we have enough demand from the users are concerned, and now we are scaling up the supply side by decentralizing the node runners and indexer runners. So we are starting with the NFTs first, and then we will be scaling that out with different indexers. So that has been always a plan. And if you go to Unmarshal ecosystem dataverse, that's what exactly it talks about. And the timing, I think we are making sure that the demand for it is right, and the economics of the network is right. So that's like we will launch it soon, and we are making sure that like we play along based on the sentiments of the users. Like it has to make sure that like there's enough demand for the APIs and other aspects to make sure that the rewards make sense, and the foundation also doesn't lose a lot of tokens by compensating that. So we are making sure that like everything comes together for us to launch. So it's going to be in a phased manner. So the first phase will be launching soon.
Well, that's great to hear. Is this like a thing that people could sign up for to be part of right now?
Yeah.
Or is this, there is an open sign up for this? That's awesome.
Yeah. So there's a waiting list that you can look for to Unmarshal founder nodes. And then there, I think that we're going to select 30 of them as a launch partners, and going forward we'll be launching.
Now, just curious, do you have any kind of specifications for software requirements or things that people would have? Like, would people be able to run this on like their old crappy laptops, or is there some kind of like system requirements?
No, I think that there's a sophisticated system requirement because it's going to be a decent size of data storage, a decent size of hardware requirements. So all of that has been given in the founder note document about what's the minimum requirement of hardware that's required, and what are the expectations out of you, because you should be able to troubleshoot if there are any errors, to bring the node back, etc. So that's why I think like we've made sure that we've taken a form that talks about your experience of running nodes, your experience of handling services like container services, to make sure that we build a network that's stable.
Yeah, it's definitely I can definitely see one of the requirements being disk space.
Yeah.
I'm sure holding all this information is, you're not going to be able to do it on like a 250 gigabyte hard drive or something like that. You're going to need some substantial space. But that's one thing that people are always saying, like, for example, like even just the Bitcoin blockchain, it takes up a large amount of space on a hard drive to be able to run a full Bitcoin node and have all of that information stored on your hard drive. But one thing that people always need to remember is that as the years go on and technology improves, the cost, like even in the last 5 years, we've seen the cost of hard drives dramatically reduce and get larger in size at the same time. Like, for example, the cost of a 1-2 terabyte hard drive 5 years ago is probably half now for people to be able to go and buy these things, to be able to, store all this data. So I forget what that's called. There's actually a name for that kind of technology, incremental increases. So, as things get more prevalent and more used, the cheaper they become, because they're being developed even faster in a more efficient ways. So, as they move forward into the future, people are going to be able, like most computers now that you buy, like even my cell phone has like almost a 1 terabyte SD card in it. So, as things,
the mass production and then the storage, the innovation has been making the size lots smaller, and the price is also a lot smaller. But one more thing we are trying is modularization. So the reason I said we are building only for NFTs is to make sure that the hardware requirements are not as hard if they are running a full node with all the indexers. So we have kind of modularized the indexers to run separate one for DeFi, separate ones for NFTs, etc. So that was the major reason to make sure that like a lot of people can run these nodes.
Well, that's cool to hear that you're kind of breaking it down into different sections so that people don't have to store all of the data across of all the platforms together. If they want to just, store just the NFT data, they'll be able to, and things like that. That's really cool to hear that, you're kind of dissecting it into the different fields that people are going to need to utilize so that people can utilize just the specific field that they need as opposed to the whole kit and caboodle kind of thing. So very cool to hear. You guys are definitely probably, one of the most innovative projects that we've talked to in a long time in Kadena. And it's just, you guys are continuously building. You have lots of things on the go, things that people can get involved in. What do you feel like, where do you feel Unmarshal is going to be, and maybe blockchain as a whole in, say, like the next 5 years or so? Do you see, things going in a continual upward trend of technology and improvements? Like we spoke earlier about AI coming into the whole realm and things like that. Where do you feel is going to be, where technology and where blockchain is going to be in the next 5 years?
Yes, that's a very interesting question. I think like, and in blockchain, 6 months is already 5 years. So the 5 months are 5 years, but time runs super fast, and there need different use cases, etc. But nevertheless, I think blockchain as a technology has well proved, and there are different use cases that are being tested out, and cryptocurrencies has been one of the biggest advocate of blockchains, and the fact that it could be decentralized, the finance could be decentralized and democratized is the biggest innovation of this century. And it's going to be, I think, like it's going to go mainstream with the regulations coming apart. So that's only going to go do good for the technology, and it's protecting the users who are like trying to work on the blockchain space, right? So I think as far as the use cases are concerned, we are I mean, like there's a continuous the research and innovation going on the enterprise spaces to use it at a scale that where banks could adopt. I think like they are like the bigger players are coming with stablecoin and other aspects, but I would like to see blockchain being used in the trade finance, blockchain being used in the supply chain of medical devices, blockchain being used in the other aspects, and blockchain is being used in remittance. So it has to, for the mainstream adoption, I think it's only going to happen in next 5 years, and then like given blockchain and blockchain data as a CAGR of close to 85 to 90% for the next 5 years, the things are only going to open up. And as and when more and more people come and innovate in this space, I think within the digital currency space itself, I think we are out for a ride on different aspects. So super excited for it in the future. So Unmarshal wants to set the standard as a data layer. Like about the data purity and how like when you segregate the blockchain tech into horizontal and verticals, we are making sure that we are relevant in all the verticals, whether it's within crypto, whether it's NFT, whether it's DeFi, etc. So we are making sure we are relevant in all these spaces. And as far as horizontal is concerned, we are a thin layer in the net in the pyramid of blockchain infrastructure, and we are just going to expand that more and more to cover all the use cases, to become a solid middleware where the execution happens on blockchain, and everything else as far as the data availability and other things are taken care within Unmarshal.
Yeah, there's definitely a bright future for crypto and blockchain. And I feel like one of the biggest, brightest futures outside, of course, is the financial aspect of it, is just the data aspect of it. Like you said, like medical stuff, things like that. Like what I've always said when I first got into finding out NFTs, I obviously had the original idea, like most people have, of, oh, NFTs are just stupid monkey pictures. That's all that they are. But there's so much that comes with blockchain, NFT, and all that kind of technology for especially things like data. Like, could you imagine, governments and stuff issuing an application that is pretty much a wallet where you store your your NFT is your doctor's records, your medical history, things like that. So, for example, if you're on, say, a vacation somewhere outside of your country, you can go to a doctor, they can just scan a QR code, you can give them access to all your medical records. And to do that, you're going to need a service to provide that data on a very quick and secure basis. So, that's definitely going to be the future, and where definitely a company like Unmarshal can come in and play a large, heavy role in providing that very necessary data in a safe and secure manner. So, that's always where I've seen things going when it comes to blockchain, is utilizing it in these aspects where, it just makes everything more simple, more secure, makes the data more readily available, because a lot of that data is not readily available. Like, for example, your medical records are not readily available. They're held in an office somewhere of where you go and see your doctor. They're not, stored anywhere really online in a safe and secure cryptography manner, where they could easily be. We just need people to build those technologies and build those use cases, and provide that data to information to services, and that's exactly what you guys are doing, is finding secure, safe ways to be able to spread that data to the different services that need to utilize it. So very cool to hear. You guys are definitely working on lots of really cool and innovative tools over there at Unmarshal. Is there anything that you feel like we haven't really touched upon that maybe you'd like to touch upon before we wrap this up, or possibly maybe any kind of alpha or things that we haven't spoken of, or things that are coming in the near future for Unmarshal?
Yeah, I think we are tapping in every aspect as far as making sure the data purity and data secure safety is concerned. So we are exploring zero knowledge, where even if somebody gets access to the data as a raw format, they don't have any context or means to make any sense out of it. So there are different aspects that we are working on. And then as far as Unmarshal is concerned, we have a solid principles in terms of building a sustainable, a self-sufficient platform. So Unmarshal will keep going on in that direction. And for more and more ideas, I think please do join Unmarshal Telegram and Discord for any other questions, answer, and queries you may have. And I think, so the Sakhi is going to be one of the, like if you look at all the dexes and other places, it's now fixed number of charts, and most of them are Uniswap folks, etc. Right? Like where like a lot of information is not readily available. All you can see is what's the liquidity, what's the volume. But like if you want to know the more details about, hey, I see that there is this token pair, but how much of this volume is fake volume or wash trading? This given, especially we are in a age where there are a lot of meme tokens, there are a lot of manipulation in terms of volumes or liquidity is concerned. Is this liquidity provided by one particular guy? If you removes a plug, then like the whole token will go into vain, etc. Right? So there are a lot of sense you can make out of by querying the data in your own words, in your own this thing. So Unmarshal is trying to make that, democratize the access to the data through Sakhi, which makes it everyone can query data, anyone can query data. So that's the biggest weapon that we think can help save a lot of scams.
Well, that's great. You guys, like I said, you guys are definitely building some very useful and very needed tools in the blockchain space that a lot of projects, not just on Kadena, but on lots of different blockchains, are going to be able to utilize. And definitely, innovating things with your implementations of AI and decentralizing the platform. So lots of really cool stuff that people can get involved in. So I definitely want to thank you for coming today and teaching us about Unmarshal. I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting to hear more about this project and everything that you guys have been working on over there. And you've definitely been working hard, that's for sure. And it's definitely showing. So definitely want to thank you for coming and telling us all about this today. So yeah, hopefully we can have you back soon once, more things are finished. Maybe once your beta rollouts go live, things like that. We can definitely try to help and promote and get more people involved in promoting and helping out on Unmarshal. Very exciting.
Thanks a lot, and thanks for having us.
Awesome. So make sure everyone goes and follows Unmarshal, join their Discord, join their Telegram, join all of their different socials, get involved, sign up for their betas. If you are building dApps or building applications, definitely reach out to them for any of their awesome services that we've talked with today. And make sure you guys also go check out KadenaEcosystem.com. Check out our calendar for all of our upcoming AMAs to not miss out on any of these awesome conversations with these amazing projects that are building on top of the Kadena ecosystem. So thank you very much, absolutely everyone, for joining us today. Have a great day and take care.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at Kadena Ecosystem, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on the projects before investing. Also ensure to follow us on our social media, from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.